we have seen population growth over the last decade or so that suggests that should those trends continue, we're going to see, in fact, MORPC has predicted maybe 1 million more people by 2050 or so.
Well, looking over the last 10 years, there's been about $1 billion in private construction and investment within downtown, and that's adjusted for inflation in 2016 dollars. Looking ahead right now, projects that we know about that are proposed or under construction is about $718 million. So what we're going to see in the next 3 to 4 years could end up coming close to what we've seen in the last 10 years within downtown.
Downtown is constantly changing. I personally think it's great, but the shopping downtown is a challenge. That even if you move downtown beyond a grocery store and some drugstores, you still have to drive out. That would be a challenge for me to live downtown. When you go to other cities, in every neighborhood there's a grocery store.
You know, one of the big things Columbus has to, change is our behavior. Because if we add 1 million people in the city by 2040, which is expected, traffic would be a nightmare. The costs we would incur for new infrastructure expansions or repairs would be, astronomical. It's really not sustainable. And so we've got to start sharing more and adopting other types of transportation modes.
We're going to continue to grow if we're going to do it smart as opposed to just simply sprawling as other communities and cities and regions around the country, out into 5 or 6 counties and have a disconnected, disproportionately poor central city. That's inconsistent with the annexation policy put in place by former Mayor Sensenbrenner, and one of the reasons Columbus continues to grow and thrive is the way that we're all inextricably interconnected. Granville can't be successful unless Columbus is successful. In Grove City and Dublin stand to lose if Columbus suffers and doesn't plan thoughtfully and deliberately about the future. And so that new sense of regionalism, I think, is going to be, in addition to density, in addition to diversity. I think that's an exciting, dynamic thing.
I see a lot of new construction. I see a lot of surface lots getting filled in. I see a lot of vibrant street level activity happening. You'll see a lot more people walking the streets day and night. A big question mark is going to be retail, though. The hardest thing we're seeing right now is retailers want to open up in downtown. They're local independent retailers that already have a presence in Central Ohio, or they're entrepreneurs and they're thinking about making that leap. The problem we have in fitting them in is that we don't have good quality spaces that are the right size. They tend to like small white box spaces, 200 to 400 square feet. You need to have them clustered with other retailers so that they can really survive that way. And they need to be in high traffic areas. And so a lot of the vacant spaces we have right now don't meet any of those criteria. They might meet one, but certainly not all. In the next couple years, over on High Street between Gay and Long, on one side of the street you have the Edwards Company developing a residential project with ground floor retail. The other side of the street, some of the buildings have already been done, but Ricky Day is working on the old Madison's department store. That will have ground floor retail. And so once you see that on North High, you'll see a very different environment on High Street. And you're seeing that already now on South High with the addition of retail spaces at the Lazarus Building and High Point and 250 High. And then once the new Lifestyle Communities apartment buildings get completed, you'll see more of that activity happen.
We used to be a city that was, had the strong Midwestern values, but we didn't talk about the strength of our city. I call it, now we have what I call a swagger now. We have the ability to have the confidence to go after and do things, go after things and to make our city big in a big way.